So last time we did drainage patterns. I hope you guys had time to look at drainage patterns. Furthermore, I'm sure you looked at a trellis pattern, the dendritic pattern, and I gave you exercises that to do as well. I think we're going to mark those exercises after we are done with the last concept, which is the drainage density, as well as the stream order. Okay, so this document that I'm using is from 2025, of course, but it's still valid for your curriculum this year. So let's get to it and start talking about drainage density. Okay, from hearing the term, what do you think the term density means? This term density. What do you think the term density means? The term density.
I think it's mass over volume.
Yes, something like that, right? Okay, since you're from the physics side, you're gonna say mass over volume, but basically in general, density simply means how many things are there, okay, in a certain space, how many things are there. So when we're talking about the drainage density, we are actually measuring the length of the streams, of the stream channel per unit area of the drainage basin. We want to try and see how dense are the streams. So we are looking at the length. Usually we are looking at how long the streams are, because if the streams are long there, we can be able to say that we have got higher drainage density. Okay, so basically we are measuring the length, or we are measuring the size in terms of the length. The length of what? The length of the streams in a drainage basin. Do you guys hear that? Okay, so now we have got an example here. We have got A and we have got B. When you can see A, if you can look at A, you can see that A is actually less dense compared to B. If you can just compare those two, A and B, A here is less dense than B, because we're having streams, fewer streams in this area. So we're having less streams in this area, and these streams are not that long compared to that one of B. Because in this area A, we're having fewer streams in this pattern, we can say that we're having a lower drainage density. Whereas in an area B, we're having a higher drainage density. So basically the drainage density, to an extent, it refers to how many streams are we finding in a certain area. But when you define it in an exam, you say it is the measure of the length of the stream channel per unit area. So you can say that the drainage pattern B, it is more dense, or it has got a higher drainage density compared to the drainage pattern A, because drainage pattern A has got fewer streams. It means that you can see fewer streams flowing over the land. Because remember, guys, these drainage patterns, they are just simply made up of streams that are flowing over the land. Okay, so they are just made up of water that is running off over the land. So this is just water that is flowing over the land. So here we have got fewer streams or fewer channels of water that are flowing over the land. But when you go to drainage pattern B, we're having more streams. You can see that there are many. They look like trees. In fact, they look like trees because it's a dendritic pattern. Okay, but there are many streams that are flowing in this area. So we say that at A, we have got a lower drainage density, whereas at B, we say that we have got a higher drainage density. So the drainage density, you can easily identify it when you are comparing two drainage patterns. The one with the more streams, okay, or you can say the one with the longer streams, it is the one that has got a higher drainage density, but the one with shorter streams or with less streams in a certain area, it has got a lower drainage density. Yes, Sam?
So, sir, the lower drainage, it's the opposite of the higher drainage. Its definition, Mama.
Yeah. Yes. Well, okay. Basically, when I'm saying higher drainage density, it simply means that we've got more streams that are flowing over the land. Okay? Simply means that. But they will never ask you to define higher drainage density. Of course, they will ask you to define drainage density. To say, what is this whole thing in the first place? What is drainage density? It is the measure of the length of stream channel per unit area of drainage basin. This is just giving you an idea of what is this whole density concept. We are measuring how many streams are found in a certain area. Now we can have two types of drainage densities, a higher drainage density and a lower drainage density. When we say that the stream channel has got a higher drainage density, it simply means that there are more streams that are flowing in that area. Okay, for example, if you look at the drainage pattern B, it has got more streams. There are lots of streams here, and they even look like trees, as I said. They've got a lot of streams, a lot of tributaries that are forming up our river. So there are more streams flowing in the drainage pattern B. Hence, we say that drainage pattern B has got a higher drainage density, whereas drainage pattern A has got a lower drainage density. You kind of get the sense on how we differentiate between the two.
Yes.
Yes, so we have got lower drainage density and we also have got higher drainage density. Okay, so basically, now let's just try to understand what makes the lower drainage density, what makes the higher drainage density. When we say that we are having a higher drainage density, it simply means that we are having more streams. So we are having more streams that are flowing over the land. So there are more streams that are flowing over the land. So it means that we're actually having more surface runoff. Remember, guys, when I'm saying that we're having more streams that are flowing over the land, it means that we're having more surface runoff because more of the water, it is flowing over the land. Remember, guys, surface runoff, it simply means that water is flowing over the land or water is running off, as I've explained last time. So whenever we refer to higher drainage density, it simply means that in that particular area, more water is flowing over the land. So it means that there is less infiltration. There is less water that is sinking into the ground. Because if more water is sinking into the ground, there will be less water to flow over the land, right? So basically, whenever we talk about higher drainage density, it means that we've got more surface runoff, and then it means that we have got less infiltration. So if you go to the drainage pattern B in this particular example, the drainage pattern B has got higher drainage density because you can see more streams flowing in drainage pattern B compared to drainage pattern A, right? That's why we say we've got higher drainage density. So this practically means that here at the drainage pattern B, there is more surface runoff because more water is flowing. More water is flowing over the land. More water is flowing over the land. So there is a greater surface runoff. So it means that there is less water that is sinking into the ground because we can see it flowing, right? So it means that less of it is sinking into the ground. Because remember, there are two processes that can happen when rain comes, when rainfall comes. The water can either run off or it can infiltrate. So we can either have surface runoff, meaning that the water is flowing away from the catchment area, or the water can sink into the ground. That is known as infiltration. So when we say that there is high drainage density, it means that there is more water that is flowing. Actually, when you say that there are more tributaries and more streams, it means that there is more water flowing over the land. So it means that less of the water is infiltrating. Less infiltration, more surface runoff. Yes, what's your question, Bonolo?
So, sir, can you also talk about the slope?
Come again, Bonolo, please.
The slope, sir.
Yes, definitely. Because now we'll be looking at which factors actually cause a higher surface runoff and which factors cause a lower infiltration, all of that. Once we know those factors, we can know what causes a higher drainage density, a lower drainage density. But here I was just trying to explain to you guys to say, a higher drainage density implies that there's more surface runoff and less infiltration. Okay, so please guys, go back to my video introducing the geomorphology so that you understand the difference between surface runoff and infiltration. So now let's just try to look at the factors that would affect this drainage density. Okay, so which factors would affect drainage density? Let me just delete this. Okay, so which factors would affect drainage density here? First of all, remember we said that a higher drainage density, it is caused by more surface runoff. And in our previous session, I explained to you guys what factors causes a more surface runoff, right? We explained which factors actually cause more surface runoff. One of them, we say that we've got a steeper gradient. Remember we said that when water is flowing over a steeper gradient, that water, it has got more runoff. There is more surface runoff when you've got a steeper gradient, simply said. So a steeper gradient actually increases the surface runoff, resulting in a higher drainage density. So it increases the surface runoff, resulting in a higher drainage density. So whenever they say explain how the steeper gradient causes a higher drainage density, or explain how the steeper gradient results in a higher drainage density, the steeper gradient, it increases surface runoff, because basically when water is flowing over a steep area, more of the water will flow and there will be less infiltration. So the steeper gradient increases surface runoff, resulting in a higher drainage density. This is not confusing after all, because I've already explained to you guys, when we say that there's a higher drainage density, there are more streams that are flowing. There is more water flowing over the land. So when there's more water flowing over the land, it simply means that there is more surface runoff. So kind of make sure that whenever you answer such questions, you link the surface runoff with the drainage density. A higher drainage density is actually caused by more surface runoff. So now you are going to try and go back to see which factors actually increase the surface runoff. Those factors that are increasing the surface runoff, they will cause a higher drainage density as well. Okay, all right. So I replied without realizing, but basically that's how you explain it. A steeper gradient increases surface runoff, resulting in higher drainage density. I hope that makes sense. What other factors, guys, would increase surface runoff and result in high drainage density? What other factors do you think of? What other factors?
Less vegetation.
Yes. What? Sorry, I didn't hear you properly.
Less vegetation cover.
Yes, a less vegetation cover. When you've got less vegetation, yes. Remember, guys, we said that when the land is not covered with a lot of vegetation, natural vegetation such as trees and grass, the water there, it flows away easily. I gave an example of a pavement, and I said that if you're having a pavement, or when you're having a pavement, the pavement does not have any vegetation. When the rain actually rains on top of the pavement, it will just flow away. So there will be surface runoff. So you explain it in the same way. You say that less vegetation cover, it increases surface runoff, resulting in a higher drainage density. Because here, remember, everything you want to link it. You want to try and explain the factors that affect drainage density. You are trying to explain which factors can cause a higher drainage density, which factors can cause to have more streams flowing in an area than the other area. Less vegetation cover. Okay. We've got other factors, more precipitation or heavy rainfall. It's one of the factors, guys. Heavy rainfall is one of the factors. Remember, guys, when we've got heavy rainfall, more water will run off. When you're having heavy rainfall, more water will run off. So we already know that heavy rainfall or more precipitation actually increases what? It increases surface runoff. Because when there's more rainfall, more water will run off from the catchment area. And as more water is running off, it means that our drainage density is going to be high as well. Because basically the drainage density is referring to the amount of streams, the number of streams flowing in a certain area, the number and the length of streams flowing in a certain area. So if we're having more rainfall, it rains heavily. You guys know this practically. If it rains heavily, you're going to see more water flowing down the streets. If you're from the rural areas, you're going to see more streams flowing and flowing and flowing. It's because there's been a lot of rainfall. So when you explain how does precipitation affect drainage density, if there is more precipitation or if there is heavy rainfall or torrential rainfall, there will be a greater surface runoff, hence resulting in a higher drainage density. The other one which we mentioned, saturated or the saturated soil or the wet soil. Remember, guys, when the soil is wet, means that the soil has got moisture content. Remember, guys, we made a difference, and to say we can have dry soil, we can have wet soil. Take it an example. If you have got the soil closer to the rivers, that is wet soil. Usually it is wet, right? It is muddy sometimes. Even if you try to pour water on such a land, that water will not sink into the ground because the soil is already saturated. The soil has already water in it. Okay, it already contains water in it. So that wet soil or saturated soil actually causes more surface runoff, because if you pour the water on top of wet soil, it won't infiltrate. It will actually run off. It will actually flow away. And if we're having more water flowing away, then we're going to have a higher drainage density. So if rainfall falls on a wet soil, the soil will not be able to absorb the water or something like that. Okay. Only dry soil is good at absorbing water. That's what we explained last time, Uti. Dry soil can absorb water better than wet soil. Are we together, grade 12s?
Yes, sir. So I have a question, right?
Yes.
So, I reason only ngale segment to C1.
Yes, the reason is still the same. If you want to explain the factors that are increasing the drainage density or the factors that are resulting in a higher drainage density. A higher drainage density, make sure that you link it to the surface runoff, more surface runoff. Try to link it to more surface runoff. So that is why we collected all these points and we gave it one reason, because all of these points, they are factors that increase surface runoff, as we discussed earlier on.
Okay, sir. So if it, let's say, sir, maybe it's 6 marks, I'll do different, maybe those 2 different points, but same reasoning.
Yes, same reasoning, still the same reasoning. If they give you 6 marks and say what factors might have increased the drainage density or what factors are resulting in a higher drainage density, you can say a steeper gradient increases surface runoff. You can also mention that there is less infiltration as well, but the most relevant one is the surface runoff part, resulting in high drainage density. The reasoning is still the same. There is no other factor that can cause more water to flow over the area besides the factors that increase surface runoff.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Another one, guys, impermeable rocks. Remember, we talked about the permeability of the rocks. If the rocks, they are impermeable, it means that less water will be able to infiltrate, right? If the rocks are impermeable, less water is able to infiltrate, meaning that there will be more surface runoff, resulting in a higher drainage density. Yes, you can add the point of saying, Uti, less water will infiltrate. Try to add that one as well. To say that impermeable rocks, you just add it in your notebook because I didn't write it down here. If the area has got impermeable rocks or the rocks that have got lower permeability, it means that less water will be able to infiltrate through the rocks because the rocks are impermeable. They don't have cracks. They don't have anything to permit the water to pass through. So they are impermeable rocks. They result in less infiltration, increasing the surface runoff, resulting in a high drainage density. Yes, Bonolo?
So, sir, on your last point, can I also add the low porosity?
Low porosity is the same thing as saying impermeable rocks, right? Yeah, it's just the words. It's just the words. And I think who else was raising their hands here? I think it's Kokets or Lewang. Or Kokets or Lebu. Yeah, Kokets.
I'm answered.
Okay. Awesome. So, guys, it means that the factors that cause a lower drainage density, we already know them. It's just the opposite of those factors. Because remember, guys, here we say that the factors that cause higher drainage density are the factors that increase surface runoff. But the factors that will result in lower drainage density, the factors that will result in lower drainage density are those factors that are increasing infiltration. So if there's more water that is sinking into the ground, guys, if there is more water that is sinking into the ground, there will be less water that is running off. And remember, guys, infiltration and surface runoff, they are complete opposites of one another. So if more water, when it rains, guys, if more water is sinking into the ground, we say that there is more infiltration. It means that there will be less water that will run off. There will be less water that will flow away from the catchment area. So we know that for a fact, for us to have a lower drainage density, for us to see only a fewer streams, because a lower drainage density, remember guys, I explained to you that a lower drainage density, it means that there are fewer streams that you can see. It means that there are less streams that you can see in a certain area. Okay, so if we look at those factors that increase more water infiltration, if more water is sinking in and less water is running off, we're going to have lower drainage density. Because surface runoff, guys, surface runoff means that the water is flowing away. And for us to end up having a lower drainage density, it means that less water. If we've got only, let's just say we have got only these streams, let's just say they are countable is 1, 2, 3. Yeah, we only have got 3 streams that are flowing in the main stream. So we have 3 streams that are flowing. So this is a lower drainage density because there are only a fewer streams. So it means that there is less water that is running off. There is less surface runoff in this drainage, drainage pattern or in this drainage basin. There is what? There is less surface runoff. There is less water flowing over the land. So it means that more of the water is infiltrating. You kind of get the sense, guys, between the opposite of like the infiltration and the surface runoff, how they relate to one another. Do you get the sense?
Yes, sir.
Yes, guys. So please make sure that whenever we mention of more infiltration, there is less surface runoff. Okay. So let's look at these factors that actually increase infiltration, decreasing runoff, and then resulting in a lower drainage density. Okay. Let's start with a gentle gradient. When water is flowing over a gentle gradient, we're going to have more infiltration. You start at the infiltration, don't go to the runoff before the infiltration. A gentle gradient increases infiltration. And when infiltration is increased, it means that more water is sinking into the ground. It means that we are decreasing surface runoff. There is less water, decreasing surface runoff. There is less water that is flowing over the land. And if there is less water flowing over the land, it means that there's a lower drainage density. More vegetation. If there's a dense vegetation cover, means that there is more vegetation over the land. There are a lot of trees, there's a lot of grass, there's a lot of natural vegetation. We're not talking about crops, guys. We're talking about vegetation. And know how to differentiate vegetation and crops. Vegetation, we're talking about the natural vegetation. Trees, we're talking about grass. We're talking about something that grows on the land indigenously. That is vegetation that we are referring to here. Not the crops that you're going to plant and cultivate tomorrow or cultivate today and you're going to harvest them tomorrow. So basically, there is more vegetation. If there is more vegetation over the land, if there is a denser vegetation, a land that is full of trees, guys, imagine a land that is full of trees and just got grass and stuff like that, there will be more infiltration. More water will sink. More water will be absorbed by the soil because there's a lot of vegetation that requires that water. So it means that less water will run off, so there will be less surface runoff. And if there's less surface runoff, there is less water flowing. It means that there's a lower drainage density. Similarly, less precipitation or a softer rain. If it means that the rainfall is soft, meaning that it's not raining so heavily, is the opposite of saying heavy rainfall. It's not raining so heavy, it's just light rainfall. If there is light rainfall, the more water will infiltrate, as we explained last time, to say that if we've got lesser rainfall or softer rainfall or less precipitation, we're going to say that we're going to have more infiltration, more water will just infiltrate. And then if more water is infiltrating, we decrease surface runoff, means that we've got a lower drainage density. If we've got dry soil or unsaturated soil, dry soil is dry. It doesn't have moisture in it. It has got low moisture content. We use such words, guys, to convince the examiner that you know this. Remember, guys, here you want to convince the examiner that you understand geography. Use such terms. The soil is dry. The soil is unsaturated. The soil has got low moisture content. Do you hear how that feels? It feels nice hearing this. It feels nice marking this as a marker. I can say that it feels nice marking such, saying that the soil has got low moisture content. The soil is dry or the soil is unsaturated. It means that the soil it doesn't have enough water in it. So When it rains, the water will be absorbed. The rainfall water, the rainwater will be absorbed by the soil. So there will be more infiltration. There will be more water that will sink into the ground, to the soil that is dry. It will sink in, and then that will decrease the surface runoff. So it will decrease the amount of water that will run off. And this will result in lower drainage density. Same thing when it comes to permeable rocks. If it happens that the rocks in that area are permeable, or they've got a higher porosity, as Bonolo said, we can use the term a higher porosity. It means that the rocks have got cracks. The rocks have got cracks. If you mention that in your explanation, you're convincing the marker to give you full marks there. Permeable rock has got cracks and joints. So water can be able to infiltrate through cracks and joints. So there will be more infiltration, less runoff. And if there's less water running off and more of it is being infiltrating, it means that there will be a lower drainage density. Very easy to score marks, guys. Do you understand each other, Chris House?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, awesome, guys. Don't get left behind. Let's do a simple thing here, a stream order. Guys, stream order is nothing complicated, by the way. It's just false mathematics, by the way. It's just known as false mathematics. Stream order, I don't know. Are they going to ask you for a definition of stream order? I don't think they will ask you for a definition of stream order, but the order of a stream, we just want to kind of calculate how many streams we have added up so far. All right, how many streams have we added up so far? Let's just say we start with one stream here and another stream. So this is only one stream, right? We're going to put 1 on them because these streams are just alone. These are like independent streams. There's no other water flowing into them. Okay, it's just streams that are independent. And then they meet at the confluence, they make another stream. So when two first order streams meet and they make another one, we're going to say that that stream is going to be a second order stream. So the second order, the 2 there, it simply means that this is a stream that is a combination of 2 other streams. You get the sense? 2 here. When I say that stream here, I'm going to give it the label 2. It is because it is a combination. So the stream there, I'm going to give the label 2 because it is a combination of 2 streams. All right. And then if it happens now that I join in another stream, let's just say I join in another stream coming in this direction. And this stream I'm going to give it the label 1 because it is only one stream. It's not a combination of n. So when this one stream joins with stream 2, it will remain as stream 2. It will remain as stream 2. It won't change the number. It can only change if we're having stream 1 plus stream 1, we get stream 2. But if we are combining 2 different orders of the streams, we are combining a stream order, which is, for example, here, remember we started with only one streams, right? 2 first order streams. When you say that first order streams, it simply means that these are streams that are independent. They are not feeding from other streams. It's just water that's flowing on its own. It's not collecting from another stream. Those are first order streams. They combine together. They form a what? They form a second order stream, right? But if you combine a second order stream with the first order stream, it will remain as a second order stream. Why is that? It's because honestly, guys, a first order stream, it simply means that this is just small waters, literally small waters that are flowing, guys. They say that. So this is small waters that are flowing into big waters. So they won't have that much effect. That is why the stream will remain as order number 2. Okay? You will understand this later, maybe if you continue with geography later on. But I'm just giving you an idea to say when you're combining 2 streams that are having 2 orders that are different or 2 numbers that are different. Remember, these numbers that are just representing is this a combination or not? If it is number 1, it's a first order stream. It's not a combination of any other 2 streams or something. But if it's order number 2, it means that we have combined 2 first order streams to form this bigger stream. But when this bigger stream combines with a smaller stream, a first order stream, it will just remain as a bigger stream. It won't have that much of a big effect. That's why this 2 plus 1 is going to give you 2. So don't think about it in a mathematical way. Just think about it as the streams themselves. A stream of order 2 is a bigger stream. A stream of order 1 is a smaller stream. So when a smaller stream is joining into the bigger stream, it won't have that much effect. That's why the order remains as order number 2. Yes, Sam?
So let's say I have another single stream after this one. It's still going to remain as 2.
Yeah. Even if I have got another first order stream that follows this one, let me just actually draw it, right? So let's just say I have got another first order stream that joins into this one. This is a first order stream joining into this stream that is already order number 2, right? So we've got order number 2 joining with order number 1. It will remain order number 2. Still not going to have so much effect because it's just one stream, guys, just small waters flowing into big waters. So their effect is not really noticed. That's why we still remain with the same order. But if it happens that we have got another combination on the other side, let's just say here, and let me just start here and say that here, we have got 2 streams here. This is stream number 1, stream number 1. They've got first order, both of them, and they combine. When they combine, they're going to make a second order stream, right? And then this second order stream, it's a second order stream because it's a combination of 2 first order streams. When it joins in with another second order streams, they can make a third order stream. So when these 2 join together and at the confluence, or when they flow into each other and join together, they're going to form a stream, a new stream. Let me just use another color. So they're going to form a new stream. Another color won't work here. Let's just do the one that we're using. Yeah. So they're going to form a new stream here. And this new stream is going to be a third order. So when you are combining a second order stream with a second order stream, you're going to get a third order stream. So now combining this second order, so we've got a second order here coming from that direction. It's a second order because it's a combination of 2 first order streams, right? When 2 first order streams combine, they will definitely make a second order. And then when this second order combines with another second order, we make a third order stream because they are already big, both of them. Okay. So when you're combining 2 numbers that are the same, it means that they're going to create a bigger number by 1. For example, if you're combining 1 and 1, you get 2. Combining 2 and 1, it remains 2. Okay? What if I combine 3 and 2? What do you think would happen? If I take let's just say I've got a stream, right? A stream, and it's a second order stream. This is a stream painted in green. It's going to be a second order stream. It means that it has been made up of 2 first order streams, 1, 1. So we've got 2 first order streams that are combining to make a second order stream. And this second order stream is going to flow and join in with the third order stream. What do you think my result is going to be there when they join in together? What stream are they going to produce? Is 2.
3.
Yes, Kopan.
It's still gonna be 3, sir.
Yeah, it's still going to be 3. We're going to just take the stream of the higher order and continue with it. Okay. So that's just the math here. We just say when we are combining a 1 and 1, just right here. When you are combining 1 and 1, we get 2. When you are combining 2 and 1, we get 2 as well. When you are combining 3 and 2, we get a 3. When you are combining a 2 and 2, you get 3. You kind of get the sense, guys, which when we are having 2 first order streams flowing into each other, they will form a second order stream because they are 2 and they are equal. They are the same, right? They are of the same order. It means that they've got similar water content, like the volume of water in both of them is kind of the same. So they are flowing into each other to make a bigger stream. That's why we're going to call it stream order number 2. So that 2 here is telling us that the stream has got now more water than the previous ones. Yes, Sam?
So why it's using it for because of you added this green one, sir.
When you're adding the green one, is stream order 2. It is less than stream order 3. So stream order 3 will still be dominant. It will continue as stream order 3. So when you're adding a bigger stream and a smaller stream, the stream will continue being the bigger stream exactly as it is. Because this stream order 3, when we are combining with this stream order 2, this stream order 2, it kind of is just like a stream that has got less water compared to stream order 3. So its effect is less. It's like you are adding small waters to bigger waters. So we'll just say that it will remain as 3 in a sense. You can kind of get the sense.
Oh, yes, sir.
Okay, here's a task. Find the stream order here. Find the stream order. Let me just say this is X. Find the stream order at this particular position. We'll just take a picture of this problem, put it in the group. You do it in the 10 minutes break, then we're going to come back.
Hey Lapo, I know that you've been enjoying this wonderful video and most likely you've been enjoying watching this handsome face in front of you, but sorry ladies, I'm taken. I just here to tell you that Educate is on the road to 100,000 subscribers by the end of 2025. So please click the subscribe button and click the notification bell so that you get notifications whenever I post new videos. I want you guys to pass. Okay, so if you make my dream true, I reach 100k subscribers, I will make your dreams come true. I will even get you to varsity. I will get you with 7 distinctions. Yes.
What order did you guys find? Yes, Kopano.
I found 4.
4. Okay. Who says she found 3?
I also found 4.
Really? Even Mukobe is finding 4. Okay.
I found 3 there.
All right. Let's just try to do it all together, guys, and start from the scratch. From scratch. We want to try and determine the stream order at this particular point. This is the point X. So this is the point X. Here is point X, right? When I say what is the stream order here. So we are going to do it step by step, right? So we're going to start from the lower order streams, which are the first order streams, until we reach to the higher order ones. Okay. So this is stream order 1, stream order 1. They are combining to form stream order number 2. This is so clear. Stream order number 2. Here it is. And then on the other side there, we notice that we have got a stream order 1 here. This is stream order 1. This is another stream order 1. They are combining to form another stream order 2. So this is stream order 2 here at this point. And this stream order 2, it is combining with the stream order 1 from that other side. So this is stream order 1 because it's just a single stream, right? Stream order 1 combining with stream order 2. Those will give us stream order 2. So it will continue being stream order 2 here at this point. Then stream order 2 here at this point combines with stream order 1. This is stream order 1 here. We're still going to have stream order 2 as well. So this is stream order 2, stream order 2. So this stream order 2 combining with stream order 2, the purple one and the red one, what do they give us? What do they give us?
Stream order 3.
Yes, so we're gonna get a third. Yes, we're gonna get a third stream order. So this is a third stream order 3. But we still have another stream order 1 here. So adding stream order 1 with stream order 3, what do you think that's going to give us?
Stream order 3.
Yeah, it will continue being the same, guys. A bigger stream order plus a smaller stream order continues to be the bigger stream order exactly as it is. Okay? Continues to be the bigger stream order exactly as it is. Okay? So now we have got stream order 3 here. Now let's just try to figure out the other stream orders on the upper hand there. So we've got stream order 1 here. I think all of us can see this is stream order 1 combining with stream order 1. That's going to give us stream order 2 there. This is stream order 2. And then we still have another stream order 1 here. Combining, this remains as stream order 2. Remains as stream order 2, right? And it is combining with a stream order 1 there, stream order 1 there. Let's see. Let's see what combination do we have here. So let's look carefully, guys. This is stream order 1. This is stream order 1. They combine to form stream order 2. So this is stream order 2 at this point. I think we can agree on that, right? To say that this stream here is going to be stream order 2. This particular one that I'm highlighting, stream order 2. And it's combining with stream order 1 here. This is stream order 1. That's going to continue being stream order 2. So this is stream order 2. Combining with another stream order 1, it continues being stream order 2. Oh, okay. Continues being stream order 2. Do you guys see that, right? Are we still together, guys, on these stream orders, or maybe I'm doing alone?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
So this stream order 2 and this stream order 2, when they combine, they're going to form what? Stream order 3. So this stream order here is stream order 3. But this stream order 3 is combining with another combination. Let's go trace that combination one by one. So it's daunting, but we can do it. So stream order 1, they form stream order 2. Combining it with stream order 1, they still continue being stream order 2 here. And then this stream order 2 is going to combine at the confluence with stream order 1. So it will continue being stream order 2. This will continue being stream order 2 no matter what. This is still stream order 2. And this stream order 2 plus stream order 3, what are we going to get?
Stream order 3.
Yeah, it will continue becoming stream
3.
order 3, right? So this is stream order 3. Here's stream order 3. Here's stream order 3. And it combines here with another stream order 3. Do you guys see that?
Yes, sir.
What will that give us here at this point?
Stream order 4.
Yeah, that's how
Stream
we're
order
gonna
4.
have. Yeah, so this one's gonna be stream order 4. And then this stream order 4, remember I wanted the one at X, right? We still need to make combinations and try to see. So on the other side, we've got stream order 1 here and stream order 1 combining to form stream order 2 here. So this is stream order 2. So this stream order 2, combining it with this stream order 4, what are we going to get?
Order 4.
Yeah, it continues at stream order 4. Remember, the higher stream order is the one that is maintained. So at X, we definitely show that it's going to be the 4th stream order. Is that clear, what Dr. Charles?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you need to trace them, guys, one by one, please, one by one, and be accurate on these ones. You need to do this geography mathematics. Okay, so I'm just going to delete these because I'm annotating using Zoom, so they will continue being here. So I have to clear this, but you guys know that X is going to be at a 3rd stream order. So the stream order for X there is going to be 3rd stream order. So I'm just going to write down here and say X is the 4th, njalo. We said it's 4th, right? 4th stream order.
So
Awesome. All right. So one of the rules for counting stream order that do not really apply when it comes to how this is questioned, you guys should just know how stream order is related to these factors that I'm going to talk about right now, right? So when we have got a steeper slope, we're going to have a lower stream order. When we have got a steeper slope, we're going to have a lower stream order. So this is actually known as a Strehler system. I think I got that right. A Strehler system. Okay. So if we're having a steeper, slope, we're gonna have more lower order streams. We're gonna have more first order streams in a steeper slope. So when it's a steeper slope, we're going to have more first order streams. Why do we even say that in the first place? Remember, guys, a steeper slope, it promotes more surface runoff. So the moment the rainwater lands on a steeper slope, it will immediately flow away. That is creating a first order stream. Guys, remember, guys, that these first order streams or these tributaries that I'm talking about, this is just water flowing away from the catchment area. That's a first order stream. Water flowing away from the catchment area. Okay, so if it happens, Jal, it's a steeper slope. The moment the rainwater lands on the catchment area, it will immediately flow away. So it means that we have more water that is immediately flowing away from the place. So we have got more first order streams. So if we have got more first order streams, it means that we have got a lower stream order. Okay, let me repeat myself. The steeper the slope, the lower the stream order. Why is that? Remember, the steeper slope promotes more surface runoff. So it means that the exact moment when the water lands on the catchment area, it will immediately flow away. And when the water immediately flows away, that's creating a first order streams. So it means that whenever rain comes to a steeper area, we are going to definitely create a first order stream no matter what. Because the first order stream is just a stream whereby water is running off from the catchment area. Water is flowing away from the catchment area. So simply said, if we've got a steeper gradient or a steeper slope, the moment the water lands, the rainwater lands on the catchment area, it will immediately flow away. And if it is immediately flowing away, it simply means that we already have a first order stream there. And if we're having more first order streams, it means that we're having a lower stream order. So a lower stream order, it means that our drainage basin is having more first order streams. And how are first order streams created? It's just water flowing away from the catchment area. It's not water that is, guys, for example, if you look at this, let me just make this a bit practical. If you look at stream order number 2 or a second order stream, it's already a combination of a first order and a first order. A second order stream is actually formed from 2 first order streams. So the first order streams, they are kind of the original streams, the original ones that formed stream order number 2. How did they start flowing? How did we end up having these first order streams? It is just water flowing away from the catchment area, guys. Let's just go back to something that we did already. When we introduced geomorphology, I told you guys that when water rains on a catchment area, this is the catchment area, the area that is receiving the precipitation is the catchment area. When the rainwater reaches the catchment area, it will immediately flow away, right? If it's a steeper gradient. So we are creating first order streams, more first order streams the moment we're having a steeper gradient. That's the kind of sense that I'm trying to tell you. So the steeper the gradient, the more the first order streams, the lower the stream order. That's how we explain it. But they will hardly ask you that. But I'm just telling you if you are curious on how this came to be. But basically, the steeper the slope, the lower the stream order. When you've got a steeper slope, the water will run off immediately, creating more first order streams. But they will never ask you to explain that deep. I'm just giving you a hint so that you understand what is this geomorphology that you are doing. Why is it the way it is? The other thing that influences this stream order counting thing, the bigger the drainage basin, the higher the stream order. So when you're having a bigger drainage basin, guys, it simply means that we are having a bigger area that is drained by the river system. Our river is occupying a bigger area. So if our river is occupying a bigger area, it means that it has got more higher order streams. Why do I say that? For example, let's just take this one, for example, the one that we just did right now. The one that we just did right now, guys, we realized that at X, the order of the stream order, it is 4 at X. So it means that's a higher order stream already. So because it's a bigger river, it has got a chance of having more higher streams, higher order streams. That's why we say that there's a higher stream order when you've got a bigger drainage basin. But if it's a smaller drainage basin, let's just say your river is not so big, it's not even going to the ocean, it's just ending in your village. It's just a smaller drainage basin. If there's a smaller area or a smaller drainage basin, it means that you're just going to have this smaller order, these lower order streams alone. But if we're going to have a bigger drainage basin, we're going to have a higher stream order, because a bigger area means that the river keeps on joining. These streams, they keep on joining, these tributaries, they keep on joining together to make bigger and bigger ones. So if the area becomes higher, meaning that if the river is flowing on a bigger place, it will keep on accumulating more water from these smaller streams, making it to be a higher stream order. Yes, Sam?
So, sir, it's possible to a centripetal pattern. Therefore, the Vikfuna a stream order. Go.
Yeah, you can still work with a centripetal pattern. You can use a centripetal drainage pattern to determine stream order. Like for this one, I'm sure you can see what here, you can combine 1 and 1 there. 1 and 1, you get 2. It's just that this diagram is messy. But you can, you usually, they usually give you a dendritic one. But you can still work with the centripetal. As long as you're just combining the first order streams, you get the second order stream, and you continue doing the same for the others. You can still be able to get a stream order there. Okay.
Okay. So.
All right. So another thing, guys, the longer the stream. So if we have got a longer river, it means that you're going to have a higher stream order. This one is pretty obvious, guys. A longer river will have higher stream order, because remember, guys, the water keeps on adding to the main river. For example, this is a long river, the one that we did. It even has a higher stream order up to the 4th order, the one that we just calculated. Okay, it's a longer stream, going to have a higher stream order. Okay, because basically the streams keep on adding and adding up to the main stream, making this to have a higher stream order. And then if, and also one other thing that you should know, there are always more lower order streams than higher order streams. In every case, there will always be more lower order streams. For example, the first order streams, they're going to be always more first order streams than the higher order streams. For example, in this pattern, the one that we just did, we had how many first order streams? There were many, so many. There were many low order streams, such as the first order ones. There were so many. But the higher order ones, it was just only the 4 and the 3. There were not so many. Okay. So there are always more lower order streams than the higher order streams. Because the higher order streams are kind of a combination of the lower order streams. So it makes sense to say, if we are just comparing these two, for example, these two, we're having a tributary, a first order streams, and another tributary, which is another first order stream. So there are 2 of them, and they make one higher order stream. So there will always be less higher order streams than the lower order ones. The lower order ones are the ones that are adding up to make the higher order streams. So does it kind of make sense, guys? I think this is kind of obvious. Yes, Kopan?
Sir, I have a question. You see where you like wrote X, right? And then we found that it was the 4th stream order, right? And then since it's the 4th stream order, it means that like it's high, right? But then what if maybe at point X, right, our stream order was like maybe the second stream order? Would that be considered as a high stream order or a low stream order?
Okay, we don't really have a standard Kopano that would say, when we have reached the stream order, this is a high or this is a low. When we are comparing these stream orders, how do we compare them? We just compare them over the drainage basin itself. For example, let's just say this is my drainage basin. Look at this square that I'm going to draw here. So this square shape, let's just say this is my drainage basin and it ends here. It doesn't continue. you are having what? You are having the first order stream, you are having another first order stream, right? And they are combining to form a second order stream. So the second order stream in this case, it is the higher order stream because it is the one having the higher order in this area. Okay, we say that it's a higher order stream because it's the one having a higher order in this drainage basin that I've highlighted with a square there. So if we can compare how many higher order streams do we have in this drainage basin, we only have one, which is this one, the second order stream. That is the only higher order one in this square that I've drawn. And how many lower order streams are we having? We're having two. So in every case, there are more smaller order streams, like those ones. There we've got two tributaries, the first order streams, two of them, but we only have got one, a second order, the higher one. So in each and every case, whenever we are comparing the streams in a particular drainage basin itself, there will always be more of those ones that are lower order. There will always be more of those ones that have got a smaller number, a smaller stream order than the higher one. For example, the one that we did, the highest order that we were able to obtain was the fourth stream order. Let's just say that was the highest order. We only had one fourth stream order, but we had a lot of first stream order, second and third. We had a lot of those lower orders, but we only had one higher order. So in a sense, whenever we are comparing this, we compare the drainage basin with itself. We don't really have a standard to say which a 2 is a higher, a 4 is a higher or something like that. We just compare the drainage basin to say which one is the highest. Is going to be fewer streams with that order. Which one is the lowest is going to have more of those. So the first order streams are going to be the most, they're going to be more. They are always going to be more. The smaller tributaries, they're going to be more. And they're adding up to make a bigger one. To kind of get the sense.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yes.
we just compare the streams, the order, the stream orders in that particular particular drainage basin itself alone, without a certain standard of higher and lower. Okay. So yeah, those are the rules that you guys should just know about stream orders. Just general rules. No application or none whatsoever that you will do too much on these ones. You won't do too much application on it. There won't be application. You're just gonna need to know these factors and how they affect the stream order. Okay. So let's do practice questions. Because I care for you, I will do practices with you. Let's just do this one for the remaining 8 minutes because those people have to go to maths. Some of you guys have to go to maths. We started a bit late today, but we were able to complete. All right. And unfortunately, I cannot see my pen here. Where is my pen? Okay. So here's an exercise, day 12. Here's an exercise. Let's do this exercise. Refer to the drainage patterns illustrated in sketches A and B below. You've got sketch A, you've got sketch B. Now they say identify the drainage patterns in sketches A and B. Let's go. Quick guys. 2.3.1. What is the sketch A? What is the sketch B? The drainage patterns. Yes, Lelo?
A is rectangular.
A is rectangular. Do you all agree with Lelo? Is A rectangular?
Yes.
It's a rectangular, guys. It's not a trellis one. That one, you can see that the stream is bending within itself, all right? And then what about B? Yes, Kokezo.
Okay, so B is dendritis.
Dendritic, yes. It's dendritic. Dendritic, a drainage pattern. So you guys now know the drainage patterns. Of course, we did them last time. Please review that sessions if you guys did not review them, right? So we have got that easy to identify, right? If they say identify the drainage patterns in sketches A and B, start with sketch A and follow with sketch B. don't reverse the order. Guys, these people, when they are marking, they've got a lot of stress at the marking center. So you start with B, and the memorandum, when it comes, is going to start with A, and it's going to follow with B. And then when you start with B, you say it's dendritic, and you follow with A, and you say it's rectangular. Not that you are wrong. You have laid out your things in a wrong way. The markers are tired. They are not going to mark. They're going to say it's wrong because once it doesn't correspond with their memo. Yeah. So if they are tired, they're just going to think when you are assuming that the first one is a rectangle, is a dendritic, whereas you are not really meaning that. So you start with sketch A, then you follow with sketch B. Okay, 2.3.2. State the underlying rock structure. So we want to know what is the underlying rock structure and the rock type. Learn to highlight, guys. Use highlighters whenever you want to do this. Highlighting is very important. You know, when you're highlighting, it becomes a bit easier. For you. So make sure that you highlight. So state the underlying rock. That's the first question. The underlying rock structure. That's the first question. And the rock type. That's the other question. You look at the mark allocation. The mark allocation is saying 1 + 1. So it means that each and every answer that you're going to give is going to be 1 mark each. So you are 1 mark for explaining or for stating the underlying rock structure. And then the other mark is for stating the rock type on which the drainage pattern in A is developed. So let me hear from you guys, Sam. Drainage pattern A, the rectangular one. Yes.
Okay, so I was going to say the area has igneous rock with joints and cracks.
A. Okay. So the rectangular pattern, remember we said that it has got igneous rock with with cracks and joints, right? Igneous rock with cracks and joints. All right. So here, since they say state the underlying rock structure, first of all, you explain that we've got igneous rock. We have already stated the type as well. So this one is kind of a double mark question. Okay. So this is igneous rock with cracks, or you can say with joints. So this is the underlying rock structure. So basically you say that this pattern is formed where there is igneous rock with cracks and joints, but also mention the type of the rock. It is igneous rock, since it adds 2 things. In the mark allocation is saying that it's going to mark 2 things, 1 mark each. So make sure that you mention that it's igneous rock. That's the type of the rock in which this type of a rectangular pattern develops. It's igneous rocks with cracks and joints, and also state the type of the rock. It's igneous rock. Okay, it might seem a bit foolish to write the same thing all over and all over again. Try your best, guys. Geography is easy to pass if you know how to answer the questions as well, not just understanding the theory alone. Okay, 2.3.3. Explain how the underlying rock structure influenced the drainage pattern in A. Explain how. Now we want to know, how does this igneous rock with cracks and joints actually cause us to have a rectangular drainage pattern? How does it influence the drainage pattern in A? What can you say? Yes, Mukobe.
I can say that the joints cause the streams to form right angle bands, creating a rectangular pattern.
Hey, exactly. So basically, since we say that our rocks have got cracks, the igneous rocks have got cracks, right? The cracked igneous rock, for example, basalt, all right? Why does it actually develop into a rectangular pattern? Remember, we said that percolation is when water is infiltrating through the rocks, okay? So if water can be able to pass through the rocks, some of the water will infiltrate through the rocks, through the cracks of the rocks, and that will actually end up creating a rectangular pattern that is having bends, 90 degrees or right angle bends. So it just explains something like that to say that the way Mukobe said it, basically, you can say that the water or the flowing water, you can say the water flows through the cracks. That's the most important thing. The water is flowing through the cracks of the igneous rocks. Through the cracks of the igneous rocks, right? Through the cracks of the igneous rocks, right? Resulting in 90 degrees bends, of course. Oh, my PC has got low battery. I have to put my PC on the battery. Give me 2 seconds. Yeah. So basically, it flows through the cracks of the igneous rocks, resulting in 90 degrees bends, resulting in right-angled bends. Why did I only write one answer? Why didn't I write 2 points here? Why didn't I write 2 points, guys? Why didn't I write 2 points? Because it's 2 marks, but I only wrote 1 point. Why do you think I didn't write this, Popan?
It's because the question only requires one reason for 2 marks. Yeah.
Exactly. Look at the mark allocation as well. This is 1 times 2. It means that it is 1 answer for 2 marks. Okay, it's answer by the marks. It's answer times the marks. So that's how you interpret. So this is 1 times 2, means that it is 1 answer for 1 point for 2 marks. And for you to get 2 marks, you give the cause and effect. That's what I explained to you guys when we were still doing climatology. For you to get 2 marks in geography for 1 point, you give the what? The cause and the effect. The water is flowing through the cracks of the igneous rocks. This is the cause. What is the effect, or what is the result? This results in right-angled bends in the stream. That is the result. That's how you get 2 marks for only 1 point. The cause and effect, guys, is very important. Please learn how to answer in that way. 2.3.4. The drainage density in B is high or low? The drainage density in B, is it high or low? 2.3.4.
High.
It is high, right? We've already compared it when we introduced the lesson of, remember guys, you can see drainage density in B. There are more streams in B than in A, at A, right? So there are more streams in B than at A. So you can say that we've got higher drainage density. You compare it with A. They are not just going to give you B alone and they ask you of drainage density. No, they're going to give you B and A. You compare the two. Which one has got more streams in the given area? The one with more streams and tributaries and all of that is going to be the one that will have a higher drainage density. And then 2.3.5, hey, the stream order. You guys have to count the stream order one by one. Okay? Let's count, guys. Stream order. Hey, the stream order at X. That's another stressful thing. But you guys can do it there. You combine the first order streams, you get the second order streams, and then
It's
this
4.
will be 2. It's 4.
Yes.
What is it going to be? Okay, so someone already did it and they got 4. So I'll just trust their gut feeling. Since we don't have time already, guys, remember our session must be over already. But let's assume your answer is correct. You guys are going to review it. Please go and calculate the stream order the way I told you guys. Do the stream order the way I told you. You guys are going to be fine. Explain the relationship. Explain the relationship between explain it now, right? So you must give a cause and effect. The relationship between the stream order and the drainage density in B. What is the relationship between stream order and the drainage density? What did I tell you about the factors that affect the stream order and the factors that affect the drainage density? Then you link them. That's what you need to think about. What did I tell you about stream order that relates to drainage density? What did I tell you about stream order that relates to drainage density?
Can I try, sir?
Yes.
Now, for this 2.3.6, I could say that there is higher stream order, so higher drainage density.
Mm-hmm. Yes, so that's the actual end results, but you need to explain how did you get there. A higher drainage density, guys, I'm sure we say the drainage density at B, it is a higher, because they said explain the relationship between stream order and drainage density in B. So the higher drainage, the drainage density at B is higher. So it means that we're having more surface runoff, guys. We're having more surface runoff. We're having more surface runoff there. So there's more surface runoff in the drainage pattern E, because there's a higher drainage density, right? And if we're having more surface runoff in the drainage in the drainage pattern B, it will mean that we're gonna have a higher stream order, a lower stream order. I wanna hear from you guys. I'm gonna have a higher stream order or a lower stream order if we're having more surface runoff. When we are having more surface runoff, are we gonna have a higher stream order or a lower stream order?
We're going to have more streams, so higher stream order.
Okay. Nice. Okay. Anyone else who thinks of anything else? Nothing else, right? So if we're going to have more surface runoff in B, it means that resulting in a higher stream order. You need to just put the link there. Okay. So you guys are going to do 2.3.7. You want to explain how the slope or the gradient and permeability of underlying rock influence the drainage pattern, the drainage density in B. You do that question, you give the answer in the group. Make sure that you do the question, you give the answer in the group.